Nampak?
Share screen nampak.
Okay. Assalamualaikum. Today we are group 7. We are going to present about our project. The year of release for X is its release in October 2012, and Windows 8 was also Microsoft most overhaul of the window interface, ditching the start button and start menu in favor of a more touch-friendly start screen. For Ubuntu, first are the first operating system to commit to schedule releases on a predictable cadence every 6 months starting in October 2004. The version released for Windows 8 is released on 1st August 2012 until 26 October 2012, but because it was unsupported as of 12 January 2016, Windows 8.1 was released on 27 August 2013 until 17 October 2013. Mainstream support ended on January 9, 2018, but then it was extended support end on 10th January 2023.
Sambung Ini nak sambung
Nak.
Okay, next apa ni version release. You need Windows ni. Back.
Huh?
The back.
Which?
Yang 6. Slide 6. Okay, version release of Windows. You ni dah yang ni.
Itulah, bukan Pak Yuli yang ni.
Ubuntu. Ubuntu. LTS or long-term support release published every 2 years in April. Every 6 months between LTS version canonical publish an interim release of Ubuntu. Long-term support ni dia macam life cycle of Ubuntu punya version lah. Macam jangka masa untuk dia boleh digunakan. Lepas tu tak ada kot ya ni. Next.
Omar.
Okay.
Omar?
Yes. Okay. So I thought I have to share my screen, but for significant features for each big update, we have many updates for Windows and Ubuntu. For Windows 8 and Windows 8.1, interface changes, which is a big update for Windows 8 and Windows 8.1. Microsoft developed Windows 8 with a start screen rather than a start menu that is comprised of icons that filled the entire screen in a big grid. And secondly, booting to desktop features, user will have the option to boot directly to the desktop without having to click the desktop tile every time user login. Thank you. For Ubuntu,
One more.
yeah, for interface changes, Windows 20.04 has the latest GNOME 3.36 release, resulting in redesigned login and lock screen. Color scheme for feature are also being added, which allow user to choose between light, standard, or dark color scheme. To note, disturb mode. Users have the ability to shut down pop-ups by enabling the do not disturb mode.
Okay, so today we will move to the next question, the number 2. Compare between these two very popular operating systems, Windows versus Linux. And the first one is memory management. The question is question 2 is focus on how operating system handle their memory management, especially on virtual memory. For Windows, we choose Windows 8 as our example. And for Windows 8, there are two types of memory, RAM and virtual memory. All programs use RAM, but there are not enough RAM to run any program. Windows will temporarily transfer information kepada RAM to a file on your hard disk, which the name is paging. The amount of information temporarily stored in a paging file is also referred as virtual memory. And one relevant scenario for Windows 8 is how this virtual memory is being used or accessed. For example, the more RAM your computer has, the faster your program will generally run. The lesser the RAM in your computer has, the slower your program will generally run. If there are not enough RAM, it will cause the window to slow down. And if you wanted to increase the speed of your computer, you are able to increase the virtual memory in order to speed up your running program. But if we receive error messages of low virtual memory, there are two options available to overcome. First, by adding more RAM, or second, by increasing the size of the paging file. For the second operating system, we choose Ubuntu for Linux. For Ubuntu memory management, its subsystem virtual memory provide more than just a computer memory. It also provides large address space protection, memory mapping, fair physical memory allocation, and also shared its virtual memory. One relevant scenario for Ubuntu is how the memory is being accessed. When a user executes a program, it will read instruction from memory and decodes it. While decoding the instruction, it may need to fetch or store content location in memory. Then the processor will execute the instruction and move on to the next instruction, and so on until the instruction is done. These addresses are all virtual addresses and not physical addresses in the virtual memory. Then it will be converted into physical addresses by the processor based on information maintained by the operating system. To ease the translation, virtual and physical memory are divided into handy-sized chunks called pages to ease the translation. These pages are all of the same size. Second question is the limitation of maximum or minimum memory required by each OS, especially on 64-bit and 32-bit architecture. For Windows 8, the maximum bit for 64-bit can have to 128 GB. Meanwhile, for 32-bit, the maximum is 4 GB. For the Linux Ubuntu 64-bit, theoretically, it should be 16777 to 16 TB. But in reality, the amount is only limited to 250 TB of RAM. 42-bit maximum Ubuntu, the maximum is 64 GB. And the last one, compare and recommend which of OS utilize its processor more efficient. For normal usage between Windows 8 and Ubuntu, the best is Windows 8 because it is especially built for user better experience. It also has a full feature of graphical interface and work well with GUI. Most of the big mainstream is also only available on Windows OS, where they are optimized to have better memory management while on Windows system. Meanwhile, for server usage, we choose Ubuntu as the best for server era. And also for Ubuntu, there are two kinds, in which is Ubuntu desktop and also Ubuntu server. Between these two, the best one is Ubuntu server because though it didn't have any GUI, but it's still the best in utilizing its memory. It's because most servers run headless. Instead of using a traditional keyboard, mouse, and monitor setup to interact with the machine, Servers are usually remotely managed using SSH. This Ubuntu server is also an open source, which means the user can change and optimize the OS for their needs. Without a GUI also, because the Ubuntu server didn't have any GUI, it thus decreases the use of memory, which more memory can be spent into a more useful data. Thank you.
Okay, next we will moving on to the process management. Okay, next. First question is, how both operating system handle their process management when it comes to many processor requests for CPU resources? First, I will explain about Windows 8. Windows 8 is a preemptive multitasking multi-threaded operating system. What is multi-threaded? Multi-threaded is the ability of a central processing unit to provide multiple threads of execution concurrently supported by the operating system. A thread is composed of a unique identifier, the context of a volatile set of registers indicating the processor state, to stack using during the thread execution at the private storage area used by subsystem and dynamic link libraries. These segments are known as thread contexts, and the actual data forming this context varies from one processor onto the next. The kernel schedule thread for execution on a processor. This is for the relevant scenario for Windows 8. For example, when the user use the mouse to double click an icon on the program manager, the operating system will create a process, and the process has one thread that runs the code. A process can be thought as a program in execution, and it resembles a holder for global variables, the environmental string, the heap owned by the application, and the thread. The thread, which is what they actually execute the code, is the unit of execution within a process. And this diagram shows is the unitasking in Windows. Next. For system with multiple processors, a process can have as many threads as there are CPU available. The overhead caused by a thread is insignificant. In some cases, it is really beneficial to part a single application into several threads because the whole program will be easier to understand. Although each thread has its own stack, all threads having a place with one procedure share its global variable, heap and environment string as shown in figure 2. This figure is the multitasking using multithreading. Next. When two processes are multitasking, the operating system allows a certain number of CPU execution cycles to one program. However, it could raise problem because it is possible for several threads to modify the same global variable independently. Next is for Ubuntu. Ubuntu is handled by kernel. It handles the allocation of CPU, process scheduling, and the satisfaction of process requests. The kernel maintains several important tables to coordinate the execution of process and the allocation of devices. Parent-child process management design is used in Ubuntu, and the concept of personality has been applied in order to allow processes coming from operating system to be executed. Ubuntu provides wait queue and semaphore to allow multiple processes to synchronize with each other. First come, first serve FCFS method, which is non-preemptive scheduling algorithm, also used in Ubuntu to handle many process requests. Next. Second question is, how the operating system affect with various CPU type? In this case, I will compare between Intel Core i7 and Intel Xeon. First is in terms of power dissipation. For Core i7, it has TDP below 100 watt, while Xeon has dissipation power up to 165 watt. For memory support, Intel Core i7 support up to 128 GB of memory, while Intel Xeon it can support more than 1 TB of memory. For computation cores, Core i7 support 4 cores. For fast to frequencies, Intel Turbo Boost technology and Intel HT technology. For Intel Xeon, it also supports 4 cores, but it also supports the fastest available frequency, Intel Turbo Boost technology and Intel HT technology. For processor frequency, The highest frequency for Core i7 is 3.4 GHz, while for Intel Xeon is 3.5 GHz. For cache size, Intel Core i7 has 8 memory, while Intel Xeon have over 16 MB caches. Next. Next question is to compare and recommend which system utilize more efficient. For normal user, I will recommend user to use Windows 8 instead of Ubuntu. It is because Windows 8 support wide range of mainstream and professional software such as Photoshop, Microsoft Office 7-zip, which is very important and normally used during daily usage by normal users. Windows 8 has multiple media support and games can be downloaded by user, which is easily normal user utilize. Next. For server usage, I will recommend using Ubuntu instead of Windows 8. It is because Ubuntu have the ability to check source code and can automatically check the code to locate bugs, explore security vulnerabilities, and study what the code is doing on their machine. Ubuntu have high security level because any malware or viruses that go through the Ubuntu, it will not pass through the network. Next, user can have control over a machine, which helps user to build and customize a server in a way that they want. User also can modify a system or program configuration file without necessarily rebooting the server. Okay.
And next is management, file management. First question is how both operating systems handle their file management, especially on file system hierarchy. How do both operating systems separate system-wide file and normal file? Next. Firstly, this is a hierarchy for Windows 8. On Windows, file system get a drive letter such as C. The C hard disk drive actually the top of the directory of the hierarchy, but in Windows interface it is seen after the desktop. So we can see the desktop first. On each window, file system has a file allocation table. For example, FAT, VFAT, or similar with that. That's it, which this block hold the topmost directory. File system can be FAT16, FAT32, and NTFS. To name a few, recall FAT16. In Windows, system file and program file are usually saved in C drive. Next. Okay, for Ubuntu, there only a single root directory for the entire system. Refer to simple backslash. For example, Windows use a slash, but Ubuntu use a backslash, and all these and device appear within the hierarchy. In Ubuntu, the system file and program file is in the different directory. Next. Secondly, how both operating system handles the naming convention of each file. Next. Okay, Windows 8 back balik. Windows 8 Windows handle the naming convention by using OneDrive letter per mounted file system such as C and D. In Windows, they cannot have two files with the same name in the same folder. Next. Okay, for Ubuntu, no drive letter for naming convention. File system is mounted of backslash and all other file system are mounted on subdirectories of backslash. In Ubuntu, they can have two files with same name in same directory, provided they use different cases. In Ubuntu, file naming also case sensitive, so it will recognize both uppercase and lowercase letter in the file name. Next. Lastly, how both operating system handle system-related file and pro and cons between both. Next. Okay, for Windows 8, Windows 8 handle system-related file by drive letters abstraction at the user level to distinguish one disk or partition from another. For example, the path C, Windows represent a directory Windows on the partition represented by the letter C. Drive C is most commonly used for the primary hard disk drive partition on which Windows is usually installed and from which it boots. Next. Okay, for pros, easy to use. User familiar with earlier version of Windows will probably also find the more modern one easy to work with. Available software. There is more variety of software available for the Windows. More hardware support. Usually, all hardware manufacturer will offer support for recent version of Windows. Cons dia, poor security compared to other Microsoft security in which more virus, which is usually as part of Microsoft general problem with the security, and difficult or impossible to customize because it is not open source. Next. Okay, Ubuntu handle system related file by read and write disk and partition that use familiar FAT32 and NTFS format. But by default, it use more advanced format as called ext4. This format less likely to lose data in event of crash, and it can support large disks or files. Okay, next. Pros of Ubuntu, minimal hardware, which is the default Ubuntu does not require high-end system requirement. User-friendly with a high degree of customization and personalization, which is user have the freedom to customize their system. Many applications can go and beyond what Windows can do. For cons, problem about software and hardware compatibility, which is there are same user have report drive issue. Graphic card are support in both open source and priority drive. Some application can be counterintuitive or frustrating because there are one developer application which is no designer or user research team. Okay. Next, Omar.
And now we're gonna move to the last part, which is security management. Next. Okay, the first question is how both operating system handle their security management. First, next, user and password. No. Yeah, okay. Windows authentication and management. Firstly, Windows credentials management is a process by which the operating system receives the credentials from the service or user resource. That information for future presentation to the authenticating target. And secondly, of course, graphical identification and authentication applies to the Windows Server 2003, Microsoft Windows 2000 Server, Windows XP. In those systems, every interactive logon session creates a separate instance of the WinLogon service. Next. For Ubuntu authentication and management, the first, the degradation for security of password. it is based mechanism and combined with the increasing number of peers on the internet is rendering one-factor authentication outdated. And second, the emergence of mobile computing, it makes authentication a priority and has been reinforcing the need to build stronger and more resilient mechanism, which leads to the multi authentication, and it appears to the form of two-factor authentication in only one-time password. Next, okay. Secondly, securing kernel from unauthorized access. For Windows, first, minimize your resources, and second, reduce installed software. Thirdly, disable and remove unused account, and fourth, default any. For Ubuntu, first, checking logs in and network traffic. Two, don't change any default setting with regard to network. And three, use strong passwords for all users. Don't install software from untrusted resources, which is gonna make a problem later on if it has any kind of virus. And five, update when possible. And six, small is beautiful. Means here, like the less software applications you have, the more your PC will be secure. Next. Secondly, explain how both operating system handle an attempt to hack your system from the internet.
Sorry.
First, related third-party hardware or software if needed. Of course, in the first place, install firewall, and second, install antivirus software, install anti-spyware software, and four, use a complex and source password. Five, check on the security setting of the browser. Next. And second, the mechanism of preventing. For Windows, turn off JavaScript and Flash. Second, use strong passwords for user and online accounts. And third, remove spyware. And fourth, use HTTPS as far as possible. And the last one, switch off computer or network connection. Next. For Ubuntu, one, server and shared memory, setting the security of SSH protocol, and fourth, setting network security. Next. And thank you so much. Thank you, Doctor. Thank you, my group mate. You have been very amazing.
Finish?
Yes.
Okay. Which one software operating system is better?
Windows.
Why?
More
What
flexible.
is tender with normal user?
User friendly, yeah? In terms of processing?
Ubuntu.
Ubuntu, why?
Is it?
You have done your work, you can answer.
Because the Linux system kernel handles everything on the Ubuntu OS.
Okay. How long you take this one to finish your project?
dengar sir. Apa dia?
How long
Berapa lama?
it take to finish the project?
Oh.
Bulan kot.
Ingat sir.
Ha? Tak
Quite.
ingat.
Tak.
1 month kot sir.
1 month.
Waman ni. Ya ke?
Ya sir.
Dah submit kat kalam
Dah.
Letak nama grup
Group 7.
nama grup. Link kat mana link?
YouTube.
Link kat YouTube. Letak sekali kat kalam tu Okay, alright. Omar?
Yes, sir. Sorry.
What happened? What
Something
are you
happened.
doing?
Oh, wallah, nothing. Wallah. Just like
Okay.
my friend came and
What?
just my friend came and I just opened for him.
Okay. Okay, thank you everyone. Okay. Stay home.
Thank you, doctor. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank
And
you.
stay safe.
Stay home, stay safe, right?
Yes sir.
Yes.
Okay. Inshallah, I will post maybe next week. We will have a hot
We'll have
Oh.
hand-on test. Hand-on test.
What day is
next
sir?
week.
Next week. I don't know yet. I will announce it through Kalam.
Okay.
I
Inshallah,
think
to be fine. Inshallah.
if I announce using Kalam, you all will get the notification from the email, right?
Yeah.
Ya.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
doctor.
sir.
Yes, Assalamualaikum.